Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming in today. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Elijah before I go in and evaluate him. So what brings you here today?
Well, my son has a really hard time with speaking. When I took him in, they said he has a really lateralized S. The babysitter who referred him kept saying he had sleepy speech, and that's the thing that made the most sense was his lateralized S's. And then he often replaces the T sound with a D sound. And so, he'll say, instead of saying dad, he'll say tad, or vice versa. It's the majority of it, I think, is just, the T is the hardest for him. And that's usually what's left out.
And about how long ago did you notice these problems?
We noticed it when he was around 3 years old. That's when the babysitter told us we should get him taken in. And then we took him into the doctor, and they told us that we definitely should probably look for speech for him, or for therapy. Yeah.
And I did see that you said you speak German and American Sign Language at home as well as English.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that you think that might be causing some of the problems?
I thought so. So I stopped. I was at first, so I know German and sign language as well as English, and I was teaching him both, and I thought that, I put off sign language for a while with him, but I thought that, the sounds from the German probably made it harder for him to, focus on his English sounds, which I think is probably why he suffers so much with, the T sound. And so then I put off German for now, and that's when I started teaching him sign language, because I thought if he couldn't explain to us, then he could use that as a way to communicate with us. But I thought that probably teaching him those, because they have a lot of sounds that we don't have, I thought maybe that messed him up.
Is he having any trouble with any of the German sounds?
He wasn't. He was having a lot of fun learning, but I thought it was confusing him with English, and I thought a lot of people would need to understand him with English before he learned German.
And how are his words in German versus his words in English? Are they about the same number of words in each language, or is one more than the other?
I think he definitely knows more words in English, but he has an easier time pronouncing the ones in German. It seems like he doesn't have, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have any issues pronouncing any of them. I mean, the only ones are he still has the sleepy S sound in either language, but he definitely has a better understanding of English.
Okay. And I did notice that you said he had several ear infections when he was around the age of 2, I believe. And his hearing has been tested since then?
Yeah, everyone seems to think that he's developing normally with his hearing, but I was concerned about it because I know he did have a lot of ear infections. I know when he was 2, and he went in, the last time he was in, he spent the night in the hospital, and the audiologist we were talking to said that he would probably have to get tubes put in to help him. But then they decided not to. But I know that concerned me, because if he was a candidate for tubes, then why didn't they do it? I was worried that maybe he wasn't developing right. Sometimes he doesn't hear quieter sounds.
Yeah, I noticed you wrote that down. Okay. And what kinds of quieter sounds? Whispering?
Well,
or
definitely whispering you won't hear, but then even sometimes I can have the normal conversation with him right here, and he'll be across the room, and I'll just ask him a question, he won't hear me, so I'll either have to repeat myself louder, actually do something to get his attention. I don't know if it's just that he's not paying attention or if he actually can't hear.
Okay. Is he aware of his speech problems?
I think so, a little bit. I think he's becoming more aware of it as he gets older, because he notices that people often ask him to repeat himself when they can't understand what he's trying to say. I think the majority of it, though, he thinks he's speaking fine. I think the only thing that really gets him is because it sounds so slurpy when he talks, that he has a hard time describing what he's trying to say, because it seems to jumble up a little more. I think I think that it jumbles up because of the lateralized S, though. Like, I don't think it's, like, anything bad.
So is he feeling frustrated at all?
He gets frustrated sometimes. Not so much because we can generally understand what he's talking about, but when he has to repeat himself more than like 2 or 3 times, he starts to get angry. And there was one time, like, he threw a fit in the middle of the store because he was trying to ask. I don't even remember what he was asking for, but I had no idea what he was talking about. And then he just, like, started throwing a fit, and he was just getting really angry, and he ended up throwing something on the ground. And, like, you know, I thought, you know, terrible twos, you know, whatever. But I mean, he doesn't often get frustrated, and I noticed that when he does, like, we've kind of calmed him down so he doesn't really get physically violent, but he does get kind of angry.
Okay. And so what are you looking to see Elijah progress in if he receives therapy here?
I think the biggest thing would be working on his S sound, because if he mixes up the T and the D sound, like, that's not as difficult to understand as, like, his speech, because, like, sometimes it gets, like, so slurpy sounding, and it's hard to understand him. I think that's the biggest issue, and so if he can, like, work on reducing that, I think that, like, the clarity will just come with it.
Have you noticed him, like, having the slurpy speech with any other sounds other than S, like, at all? You know, it's easier to hear on the S, but sometimes it'll be in other sounds too.
I think a little bit, but I think it's mostly on the S's.
Mostly just on the S's?
I think so. And I know my husband's sister had slurpy S's, or, like, I mean, that's what everyone called it. They just said she had a lisp. But I don't know. It's never really been diagnosed.
Okay.
So I don't really know if that has anything to do with it, if it's genetic or not, but I don't really know.
You never know with these things sometimes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I should know about Elijah? How does he interact with other people, with new people, strangers?
Well, he's usually really outgoing. And so far it doesn't seem like it's been an issue for him to make friends. Like, he always just runs out and plays with kids, and, like, if they don't want to talk to him, he'll find another group. And he's really good about, like, sharing his toys, and just, he's such a, like, free spirit when it comes to playing with people. So I think, I mean, that's definitely good for him. Like, he doesn't have any issues interacting with people.
Any hobbies or interests that you think we should know about before?
He really likes animals. And I know, like, that's often when he tries talking about it, he gets really frustrated when, like, he can't say the words and stuff, but I thought maybe he just needs to practice. But he, like, his favorite is reptiles, like the reptile area of animals. He talks about, like, them all the time. All the time. And then, I don't know, just a lot of stuff. He's just kind of, he's really creative. He thinks about a lot of things, and I think some of his ideas, like, he just wants to express, but it's hard to hear him.
Okay, do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, it was lovely meeting you, and I look forward to meeting Elijah.
Thank you.
And you have a nice day.
You too, thanks.